Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while I uploaded a video here. If you're new here, if you're new to this channel, please like, subscribe. If the content is worth your time, which I'm sure it would, then please consider sharing with your contacts, right? Sharing on your socials and just sharing to as many as will find it useful, right? Yeah, so had quite a busy year so far. Those of you who are close to me, will know how busy my year has been, trying to juggle quite a number of things, together, and it's kind of been a handful. But yeah, thank God for everything so far. So some of the things I've been up to, just to give you, to give you a preview into some of the things I've been doing this year. So I successfully registered Arise and Thrive Growth Initiative, and interestingly, we have also completed our first project, which was the Skill Vault soft skill training, right, where we trained a number of individuals with soft skills, emotional intelligence, communication skill, and all that, over 10 weeks. Interestingly, we had 13 people who completed the project, who completed the training program over 10 weeks, 21 hours long, spread across 10 weeks, of course, and that's something major for us. So we are proud about that achievement, and that's one of the things that have been keeping me busy. Another thing I've been busy with has been, trying to complete and get out, my two books, my first two books on relationship and dating, right? Of course, like I always say, I'm not a professional, I'm not a certified, relationship counselor or anything like that, at least not yet. But I think that everyone who has some experience with relationship would have something to share, right? So I just felt that I needed to share my own experience in a book, and that's how Smitten came about, and that was launched in July. And of course, there's a dating style guide and workbook also that accompanies Smitten. That is an ebook version. That was also published or launched on the same day, July 6th, which was my birthday, interestingly, right? So if you have not ordered your copy of Smitten and downloaded your free copy of the ebook, the workbook rather, then please, use the link in the description and please make your order as soon as possible, right? And of course, in addition to all of these, my family have welcomed our second daughter, so that also has been a major moment for us, right? So yeah, we're quite a busy first half of the year, but God has been faithful. Like I said, God has been faithful all through, and we can't thank Him enough for how far He's led us, right? So yeah, so today I just wanted to share some tips, right? Some perhaps advice to those who are starting. September is around the corner, and people, students will be resuming school. Some will be starting whether secondary school or college or university, as you want to call it, right? This is specifically for those groups of people. So if you're starting high school this September, or you're starting university education this September, right? Then I think this is for you. If you're a young person starting any kind of educational endeavor, right, a new phase of educational endeavor this September, then this video I think is going to be helpful for you. All right, so there are 5 things I want to remind you about. Perhaps you might already know them, maybe some of them might be new to you, but I think these 5 things are important, and you need to pay attention to them as you begin this journey, this new phase of your academic experience. So the first thing, the first tip is to choose your friends wisely, right? I'm sure that is something that you would have heard so many times before. Choose your friends wisely, and that is very, very important, because in this generation, your friends have a very huge impact and influence on your life. They're able to influence what you do, what you do not do, when you do it, how you do it. So friends are an important part of your growth, of your journey. That's why it's important that you're selfish with, who you become friends with, right? You're very strategic about friendships, ensure that people are coming to your life for specific reasons. Okay, be intentional about your friends. All right, have friends who are going to push you in the right direction. Have friends who are going to help you stay focused. Have friends who would help you also position yourself strategically to make the most of situations. So when you're choosing your friends, choose friends for the long term. Choose friends that you see, that have principles, that have characters, that have values that that you hold dear. And those friends are the ones that are going to last. They're going to stand the test of time. They're going to be with you, even beyond the walls of your academic, environment, of the school or university, whatever it is. All right. So choose your friends wisely. That's very, very important. Choose your friends wisely, because your friends are very, very important aspect of your journey, of your growth throughout life. All right. And the friends that you make now can influence where you get to and how soon you get there in the future. All right. So that's number one. Choose your friends very, very wisely. Number two is that you should, as much as possible, try to get yourself involved with extracurricular activities. All right. I've seen so many students in the past who say, "Oh no, I just want to come to school and focus on my studies." Yes, that's important. It means your studies is what has brought you to school, right? But don't limit yourself to just the head knowledge, academics. All right. Try to develop skills. And how do you develop these skills? By getting involved in other extracurricular activities. All right. By maybe contesting for some leadership position in your student association, by volunteering to, organize projects, to, get involved in community service activities, right? So just get involved in other things. That's how you build emotional intelligence. That's how you build communication skills. That's how you build leadership abilities, and these things are preparing you basically. There are things that people will not teach you in class, basically. People won't teach you how to compose an email in class. All right. But these are things that you can pick up by getting yourself involved in extracurricular activities while on campus. All right. So please get yourself involved in, extracurricular activities. Get yourself involved in community service activities. All right. Get yourself busy. That's the point I'm trying to make. Get yourself busy. Number three is to try to figure out your study pattern, right, very early on. People have different study patterns. Some people are, early bloomers. That means they wake up early, they read. Some people are night crawlers. They read into the night. Other people can't read in the night. Once it's a certain time, they fall asleep. Even if they try to read, they can't. All right. So discover your own pattern, your own study pattern, and don't get influenced by friends again, to adopt a pattern that doesn't work for you. All right. You could have friends that say, "Oh, come, let's. Oh, don't worry, leave your reading now. You can read at night." When you're not a night crawler. All right. And then they convince you to leave your study when you should be doing it to when you can't do it. That's a recipe for disaster. So figure out what your study pattern is and stick to it. All right. Stick to it, and don't try to copy somebody else's pattern, regardless of how easy it may seem. I'll give you an instance. So while I was in the university, there was this guy in my class, a classmate of mine, right, who never had notes. We always copy notes. When lecturers came, we always, they always dictated notes. We always copy. But this guy never had notes. He rarely had notes. And when it's time for exam, he just borrows people's notes and spends 30 minutes, 1 hour with the notes, and he's okay, right? He could borrow 3-4 people's notes, maybe the same note, spend 30 minutes here and there, and he's fine, and he gets into the exam hall, and he excels. This guy finished second in my class, right? He finished second in my class, and of course, his study pattern was something that that couldn't work for me, right? I had a note on every subject, and I was able to, as much as possible, try to study, as many times as I could. So what am I saying in essence is that you should try to develop a pattern that works for you, a study pattern that works for you. All right. And don't be dragged by somebody else into a pattern that wouldn't work for you, because the result will be failing grades. Number 4, and this one is very important, make a decision about relationships, right? At a very early stage. Make a decision about relationships very early on. Okay. Now you may say, oh, I mean, you might have an open mind about relationships, whether you're going to date while in school, how you're going to respond to love interests and all that. But it's important that before you even, at these very early stages, right, while you are still, while it's still early, that you make a decision about relationships while you are in school. Are you going to be dating? Do you want to date? When do you want to start? Why do you want to date? What kind of person do you want to date? How long do you hope to date for? All these are questions that you should already have answers to, as you begin the journey. All right. So that you're not, you're not having situationships, you're not having happenstances that, things just happen and we fell in love. And, relationships these days, are not very successful in that kind of manner. All right. So it's important that you're certain, that you have your dating manifesto, and these are things I've talked about in my book. So you should check out my book, and especially the workbook too, which is free. You can download the workbook free of charge. The link, like I said, is in the bio. It's in the description box rather below. So that's one very important thing. Make a decision about relationships very early on. All right, so that relationships are not suddenly happening to you, or you are not suddenly falling into falling in love. Right, you're not suddenly falling in love. You have a plan. Right, you have a plan. And then finally, find God for yourself. Find God for yourself. This is, I don't know why I always leave the God factor last, but I think it's the best. Regardless of where it comes, it's the best of it. Because you can't go through life without God, basically. All right. If you're a Muslim, you can't go through life without Allah. So the God factor is very important in your journey through life, regardless of whatever phase you're going through, whether it's academics or family or career. The God factor is very, very important. And so as you begin this journey in this new phase of your academic endeavor, make sure that you find God for yourself. Know God for yourself, not your parents' God, not your pastor's God, not your mentor's God. Know God for yourself. All right. And you understand why that is important as you progress. So these are 5 things that I think you should pay attention to as you begin this journey. All right. Like I said, number 1, choose your friends wisely. Number 2, get involved in extracurricular activities. All right. Don't just say, oh, I'm focused on my book and it's just book I want to do. Get involved. Number 3 is figure out your study pattern early enough and stick to it. All right. Number 4, make a decision about relationships at the very early stages. As you are beginning the journey, not while you are in the journey. As you are beginning now, in these first few weeks of resumption, decide what you want regarding relationships. Do you want it? Do you not want it? If you do want it, when do you want it? With who do you want it? Why do you want it? For how long do you want it? Answer these questions for yourself. And then finally, find God for yourself. Not your parents' God, not your pastor's God, not your family God, but find God for yourself. All right. And I hope that as you try out these suggestions, or as you keep these suggestions to mind, that you have a very smooth sail through this phase of your life. All right. I wish you all the best. And of course, like I said, like, share, subscribe to this channel. Till I come your way in the next video, stay blessed.